Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Good morning. Today's Monday, July 8th, 2019, and here are your 60 seconds of cyber. We're going to go across the pond where GDPR has reared its ugly head with British Airways facing the prospect of a £183 million fine, which is around $230 million following a cyber attack against its systems last year. The proposed record penalty from the Information Commissioner's Office comes following a data breach which is thought to have affected hundreds of thousands of customers who used the British Airways website between April and June of 2018. The breach was disclosed in September. And we're going to stay in the UK with more news coming out of Britain, with Britain's biggest provider of forensic services paying a ransom to attackers who crypto-locked its systems with ransomware. That's according to the BBC. Eurofins did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The private testing firm provides DNA testing, toxicology analysis, firearm testings, as well as digital computer forensics for British police forces. And we come back home to the great US of A, where Griffin, Georgia paid $800,000 to scammers in a business email compromise attack by redirecting 2 transactions to their own bank accounts, according to local media sources. Following the standard BEC attack procedure, the attackers used a phishing email to trick the City of Griffin's finance department official into wiring a payment into their account instead of one of the legitimate vendors who was supposed to receive those funds. Again, BEC remains a top concern for many law enforcement officials across the globe as a way where hackers are really monetizing their attacks. Make sure you subscribe and follow us for more on your daily updates of cyber news. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow.
Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Today is Tuesday, July 9th, 2019, and here are your 60 seconds of cyber. Last month, the US launched an offensive cyber strike on Iran to disable the computer systems used to control rocket and missile launches. This was done instead of a conventional missile strike. It was heavily publicized. It sent a message to the world for the US to compromise Iran's core command and control systems, represented a material change to the battlefield dynamics. This weekend, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard commander Hussein Salami unveiled the Sphere 110, a tactical battlefield communication unit developed in Iran, designed to withstand electronic warfare compromises instigated by the US to maintain the military's command and control infrastructure. This is a change in the playing field with Iran and the US. In other news, an Eastern Ontario municipality in Canada that was subject of a ransomware attack late last month is just now restoring all of its services. The Nation Ontario, a municipality near Castleman, Ontario, was hit with an attack on Sunday, June 30th, according to a statement on its website. The municipality's computer networks were illegally accessed and infected with ransomware. The ransomware encrypted the computer system, rendering some programs, including the municipality's email system, unusable. And it's taken them about 2 weeks just to recover from that. It's unknown whether or not they paid a ransom on this specific attack. Today, security researcher Jonathan Litsuch has publicly disclosed a serious zero-day vulnerability for the Zoom video conferencing app on Macs. He has demonstrated that any website can open up a video-enabled call on a Mac with the Zoom app installed. That's possible in part because the Zoom app apparently installs a web server on Macs that accepts requests regular browsers wouldn't. In fact, if you uninstall Zoom, the web server persists and can reinstall Zoom without your intervention. You can disable this at the moment by changing the settings on Zoom to turn off my camera when joining a meeting. We're hoping that Zoom, who's had over 90 days to fix this vulnerability, actually does something on the matter. That's it for today's cyber news. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and share. Tune in tomorrow for more from us here at CyberHub Engage.
Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Today is Wednesday, July 10th, 2019, and here are your 60 seconds of cyber for today. The U.S. Coast Guard has issued a safety alert encouraging mariners to follow basic cybersecurity protocols after a ship bound for the East Coast experienced a significant cyber incident in February. The Coast Guard said that the deep draft ship was traveling to the port of New York and New Jersey from international waters earlier this year when it experienced an incident affecting its shipboard network. An interagency team of specialists responded, finding that malware significantly degraded the functionality of the onboard computer system. Though the boat's essential controls were not affected, the Coast Guard said Monday, the shipboard network has been used to conduct official business like updating electronic charts, managing cargo information, and communicating with onshore resources. State-sponsored hackers have breached ICS Forth, the organization that manages Greece's top-level domain country codes of .gr and .el. ICS Forth, which stands for the Institute of Computer Science of the Foundation for Research and Technology, publicly admitted to the security incident in an email it sent to domain owners on April 19th. The hackers behind the breach are the same group detailed in Cisco's Tailless reports from April, which the company named Sea Turtle. We'll report more on Sea Turtle later this week, I hope. The NHS has revealed that it is blocking millions of emails a year, ranging from those sent from suspicious email addresses through to spam and messages stopped by antivirus software. The NHS is the National Healthcare Service in the UK. Responding to a Freedom of Information Act request, NHS Digital said that in the past 3 years, it has blocked a total of 11.4 million suspicious emails from being delivered to NHS email addresses. Of those, it said, over 6 million were blocked because of the reputation of the IP address or domain they were sent from. Another 3.6 million were blocked by anti-spam systems, and 852,000 were stopped by antivirus software. That's it for today's cyber news. Make sure you subscribe, share, and follow us. You can always subscribe to our Twitter page or our YouTube page for more up-to-date information. We'll be back with more news tomorrow.
Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Today is Thursday, July 11th, 2019, and here are your 60 seconds of cyber for today. Google employees are systematically listening to audio files recorded by Google Home smart speakers and the Google Assistant smartphone app. Throughout the world, this is happening throughout the world, as also in places like Belgium and the Netherlands, where people at Google listen to these audio files to improve Google's search engine. VRT NWS was able to listen to more than 1,000 recordings. Most of these recordings were made consciously, but Google also listens to conversation that should never have been recorded, some of which contain extremely sensitive information. As many as 25 million Android phones have been hit with malware that replaces installed apps like WhatsApp with evil versions that serve up adverts, cybersecurity researchers warned on Wednesday. Dubbed Agent Smith, the malware abuses previously known weaknesses in the Android operating system, making updates to the latest patched version of Google's operating system a priority. Israeli cybersecurity company Check Point said most victims are based in India, where as many as 15 million were infected. There have been more victims across the world, with over 300,000 in the US and another 137,000 victims in the UK, making this one of the most severe threats to have hit Google's operating system in recent memory. An obscure hacker group known as Bootstrap is actually behind a recent Windows OS zero-day vulnerability that was exploited in the wild. Slovak antivirus maker ESET, the company who discovered the ongoing attacks, said the zero-day was being used to conduct cyber espionage operations. Microsoft has patched this zero-day vulnerability this week on Tuesday in this month's Patch Tuesday update train. CVE 2019-1132 is the patch to fix this specific zero-day. And the UK back in the news not only with a foul-mouthed ambassador, but with another GDPR fine. Britain's privacy watchdog has previewed a suggested fine of £99 million, around $125 million, under the EU's GDPR regulation against hotel giant Marriott for its failure to more rapidly detect and remediate a data breach that persisted for 4 years. The massive data breach exposed approximately 339 million customer records globally, of which about 30 million related to residents of 31 countries in the European economic areas and 7 million to UK residents, Britain's Information Commissioner Office said on Tuesday. The ICO enforces the country's data protection laws, including GDPR. Spoke about it this week on our Goodbye Privacy podcast, so make sure you give that a listen. And finally, Apple has fired an update to Mac users that ensures Zoom's controversial web server on Mac computers is no more. Apple issued an update to ensure that the Zoom web server is removed from all Macs, even if the user did not update their Zoom app or deleted it before we issued our July 9th patch. That's from Zoom founder and CEO Eric Yuan. He wrote that in a blog post on Zoom's website yesterday. That's it for today's cyber news. Make sure you follow us, subscribe, and share for daily updates of the most pressing cybersecurity headlines. Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. Happy Friday, July 12th, 2019. And here are today's 60 seconds of cyber, summarizing a very, very busy week in cybersecurity. The exposed Mongo database, which was discovered on June 18th, included information from searches conducted on people.com and LexisNexis. According to security researcher Bob Daichenko, who discovered the database along with the privacy advocacy group firm Comprotec, their findings were published in a blog Tuesday of this week. Pipple is an Idaho-based people search engine that provides data brokering services, and LexisNexis is obviously a very large organization and search engine based in New York. The exposed records from Pipple included first and last name, email, date of birth, phone numbers, social media profile links, race, and religions, according to the researchers. Approximately 800,000 records were exposed from LexisNexis. Those contained names, addresses, gender, and family members. In those specific pieces on our Goodbye Privacy podcast, we did a whole episode on data brokers. I encourage you all to tune in and listen to it. In other news, health insurer Premera Blue Cross has signed a $10 million HIPAA settlement with the attorney generals of 30 different states in the wake of a data breach that exposed personal information on more than 10.4 million individuals nationwide. The settlement was tied to a 2014 breach disclosed in 2015 and was announced Thursday by Connecticut Attorney General William Tung. The coalition of 30 state attorneys generals, led by Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson, investigated Seattle-based Premera's cybersecurity vulnerabilities that gave a hacker unrestricted access to protected health information for nearly a year. Tung said in a statement, part of this fine was due to the lax cybersecurity protocols in place by Premera. And finally, Japan-based cryptocurrency exchange Bitcoin announced it lost 3.5 billion yens, which equate to roughly $32 million, worth of cryptocurrency assets after a hack that happened late yesterday on July 11th. The exchange suspended all deposits and withdrawals this morning to investigate the hack. This it reported in a press release. In a more detailed document released by Remix Point, the legal entity behind Bitcoin, the company said the hacker stole funds from both its hot and cold wallets, suggesting the exchange's network was thoroughly compromised before the breach. That's it for today's news. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and share. We'll be back with more on Monday. Thanks for listening and tuning in, and have a great weekend.